In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a simple but powerful email AI agent. For us to test this out, let's come to my email, and this is a complaint from a client, right? So if I send this out and it's going to be received in my box, and I come back to this email agent and I execute a workflow, this is going to go grab that email. And this AI agent is going to analyze that email, determine if it falls into a question, a complaint, or a lead. In this particular case, is a complaint. So the first thing it's going to do is going to label the email as a complaint. So if I come back to my email and I look at it, you can see it has labeled it as a complaint. Now, the next thing it's going to do is that it's going to generate a response for that complaint. But before it sends that response to the customer or to the client, it's going to send me an email to approve the response. So if I come back to the email and I take a look at it, you're going to see this approval required. Open it up. You're going to say, okay, this is the email this is the client that sent the email. This is the subject. This is the message. And this is the generated response. So this is the response the AI agent generated. If I'm happy with the response, I can click approve. If I'm not, I can decline it. So in this case, let's approve it. Now the email has been approved and it's going to go to this other node and it's going to send that response to that customer. So if I open this up and I come back here, you're going to see that that exact message was what is sent to the customer. So let's come back to the workflow, and I'm going to walk you through step by step through how you can generate something like this. The first thing you need to create is the email trigger node that receives email. So this node here, what it basically does is that it goes to your mailbox or to the designated mailbox and grabs those emails. It's going to be checking those emails every minute. Once the message has been received, it's going to pull it into the workflow and trigger the workflow. Also, you need to ensure that you connect your credentials. So if you come here under credentials to connect and you click on create new credential, you're going to see the opportunity to enter your OAuth 2 authentication. You will need the client ID, you will need your client secret, and you need to supply your OAuth redirect URL to the Gmail API. If you don't know how to add your Google credentials to your n8n workflow, I did a video previously that you can just go through it and see how to generate your credentials. So in this particular case, we are assuming you have your credentials. So with those credentials, you ensure that the credential is selected here. So that was how it was able to go to my mailbox and fetch those emails. The next node you're going to have here is basically what is a filter node, right? Is a node that I don't want to be processing all this data. So I want to extract certain fields from this email. So that is what the set node is basically doing here. This is who the message came from, the from, right? So I'm just basically doing a basic drag and drop. So I just drag it here and I drop it here. The subject of the message, I just drag the subject. Here you have the subject. The subject is here. I drag it there. I'm extracting the message itself, which is, the body of the message. Then the ID is very important. This is the ID. This ID is what ensures that when you're replying, you're able to track which message you are responding to. Then I also kind of extracted the date, right, which is very important, right? But the date here is this is a Unix timestamp, right? It's not human readable. So that leads us, of course, if you look at the set node, this is how you can see how it's looking clean now. You can work with this. Now, if you come to the next node, the only thing this next node is doing is basically it is taking this Unix timestamp and it's converting it to human readable. So you can see here, I drag just another drag and drop. I drag the date here. I'm using the custom format to format the date. So this is saying have the date, the month, the year, the hour. The hour, it should be a 24-hour period, right? So that's why you can see 19 here. Then this one, it says the minutes, and this one says the seconds. Then you can give it any name you like. In this particular case, I just took the default, which was the formatted date. Now for this node, I only manipulated the date, right? But you can see that the output has all the previous details from the previous node, and that was because I selected this option that says include input fields. So every field that it's imputed is going to also add it to the output. Now, once we have processed the data, the next thing it then does is that it sends it to the AI email agent. So this is the email agent, and this is basically my prompt. You can use ChatGPT to generate this kind of prompt, right? I'm basically saying you're an AI email assistant. And you can see again, I'm giving it the subject of the message because that's what it's going to really analyze. You're going to analyze the subject, and it's going to analyze the body of the message. Again, this is just a simple drag and drop. But what I want it to do, I want it to analyze the message and determine if it falls into 3 categories. Is it a question? Is it a complaint? Or is it a sales lead? Then if it doesn't fit any of these categories, I want it to categorize it as other. Now, I've also told you, do not include any explanation. Don't give me any summary. Don't give me any extract text. Just give me the label. So if we click out of this place, you can see here, it analyzed the message and it determined that it was a complaint. So it just basically said, this is a complaint. Now, this AI email agent, you can see this is just basically the AI email agent node. But for this to work, you need to add an OpenAI chat model, right? If you open this up, you can see credentials to connect. I'm connecting via API to OpenAI. If you don't also know how to generate an API key for OpenAI, I have a video that you can watch on that. Now, the model I'm using is GPT-4 Mini, right? So this is basically the brain of this AI email agent. This is what analyzes it. Now, the simple memory is here just to store, to have that recollection, to have that context, especially when you are responding back and forth to an email. Then the next one is the switch node. The switch node is what determines, if it's a complaint, take this track. If it is a question, take this track. If it's a lead, take this track. That's what basically the switch node is just basically doing. In this particular case, it was a complaint. So you can see the green part here showing that it was a complaint leads it to this next node. What this next node is basically doing, this is a Gmail node for adding a label. As you can see, the operation here is add label. The message ID, again, the ID is important. If I'm going to label a message, I need to know which of the message I'm labeling. And in this particular case, it is the ID is what you use in tracking your emails. So you can look at the different nodes, the previous nodes which we have analyzed before, and you come down to extract relevant fields. That was how I just simply drag this ID to this place. Now, because these things are variable, so they are constantly changing. So don't just go and copy the ID and paste it there. No, always drag it so that it has that format as a variable, so that if another email comes, it's going to extract the ID for that email. Now, another thing is you have the label names or IDs, which is in this particular case, because it's a complaint, I want it labeled as a complaint. Now, the next node, after it has labeled it as a complaint, it then sends it to another OpenAI node, right? So I'm not using the email AI agent here. I'm just using a simple API request to OpenAI. So if you open it, you can see the credentials to connect. I'm still using my OpenAI credentials to connect to it. The operation here is message a model. I'm still using the 4.1 mini. Then here, I'm telling it, you're a professional and helpful customer support assistant. This is the message. This is the subject. This is the message. Respond to the customer, right? So we know that this is a complaint. We want you to respond. And you can see here, I told it, write a clear, friendly, and informative response based on the information provided, right? And I also gave it some context around, so if this is a business, for example, you want to give it a context around what are your products, what are your frequently asked questions, so that if it is going to respond to the customer or is going to respond to the client, is going to use that as the context to respond to that customer. So if you can see the response where it's sent to the customer, you can see the response here. It was able to tell the customer, see, this was just 5 days. It falls within our 30-day return policy, and you can avail yourself of that, right? So, but you need just provide a proof of receipt. I will assist you. So that's very, very important context that was provided in the messaging. Now, after it has analyzed it generates a response. It then sends, this is where you have the human in the loop, right? A send and wait node. So what it's going to do, in order to give you that control over your AI agent, it sends you the message it intends to send to the client. So it is left for you to either approve the message or decline the message. And by the way, you can receive this message either on WhatsApp, on Telegram, so that even when you are mobile, you can be approving your messages while your AI agent is sending it to your clients or to your customers. But in this particular case, just to make it easy, I'm using my email. This is the email address I'm sending it to. This is the subject, approval required. If you open this up for the message, you can see that when it's sending the approval, it's sending who the message came from, the subject of the message, the body of the message, and it's also sending the generated response. Those are critical contexts if you need to approve something. Now you can see under the response type, which is approval, the approval options is the type of approval is approve and disapprove. So you are going to get, like you saw, we had the approve button, right? We had the approve and we decline button. So these are what we just added here. Right. Now, after it has approved the message, you can see if the approve is equal to true, it's going to trigger the next node. But if the approve is equal to false, it's not going to trigger the next node. And the next node is basically just going to send the message back to the user, which is a reply to a message node. So this is what is responsible for replying to the customer or to the client. And something that is very important here again is the message ID, because if you're going to respond to a client or you're going to respond to an email, you need to know the exact email you're responding to, and that's where this ID is critically important. And also again, the message, this is just a simple drag and drop again, right? You're coming under this analyze complaint. This is the node that analyzed the message and generated a response. So I'm just a simple drag and drop here. Same with the message ID. If you come down to extract relevant IDs, this is where we extracted the ID. So we are just extracting it and adding it to this place. So this is a very simple workflow. It ends with responding to the client, but there are so many other things you can do here. Thank you very much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe, comment on this video so that YouTube can send it to others that may benefit from it. And see you in the next video. Bye.